Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video on this channel. Today we're going to go through a full timeline and explain the entire scandal around GARAM. Because so much time has passed that I keep seeing online narratives that simply aren't what actually happened. And of course now that she has returned, we're also going to explain what she wants to do next, and whether we will be seeing more of her. So without anything else to say, let's get started. LESSERAFIM was an extremely anticipated group, not only because it was officially the first girl group to debut under the umbrella of HYBE Corporation, but also because it included already well-known members like Sakura and Kim Chi-won from IZ*ONE, as well as Hyunjin, who had appeared on Produce 48, and they were joined by Kim GARAM and jungkook. GARAM in particular attracted a lot of attention because of her visuals and stage presence, and she even starts the debut song of LESSERAFIM, Fearless. But very quickly the problems started to appear. Several people directly accused Kim GARAM and her group of friends of being bullies. More and more posts started appearing on Twitter, Facebook and Korean forums, and most of them were saying similar things, that GARAM treated people badly, pushed and humiliated her classmates, and that she also smoked, drank and had behaviors that were considered inappropriate for her age. While accusations against Kim GARAM from supposed classmates were appearing, other people were also speaking up saying that she was nothing like what was being described, claiming that in their experience, GARAM was actually a good person, and that if anyone had been a victim of bullying it was her. A photo was also shared where she appears to have a cigarette in her mouth, but another person who shared their own experience said they had never known GARAM to smoke, and pointed out that the photo was taken at school right next to the teacher's office, which would make it impossible for it to actually be a cigarette, suggesting it might have just been a lollipop. Other photos of GARAM also started spreading online, some where it was clearly her and others where it wasn't even certain, especially one image that people used to attack her where she supposedly appears next to some inappropriate drawings on a classroom board. Fans of I-DLE also began attacking her, because some posts claimed that GARAM had originally been supposed to debut in I-DLE, but that the company discovered her past and removed her. And in a photo where her classmates were congratulating GARAM for her debut, there was also an arrow pointing to I-DLE and another pointing to LESSERAFIM. However, we now know that this picture was taken after GARAM had left the school, so we can assume she had nothing to do with it. All of this happened on the same day that GARAM's debut was announced, and HYBE quickly released a statement denying the accusations, saying that Kim GARAM was actually the victim of rumors and cyberbullying from classmates who were still harassing her. They also denied that GARAM had ever been part of any agency other than HYBE. In addition, the person who originally started spreading the rumors later posted that they had received a lawsuit from HYBE, which showed that the company seemed very confident about GARAM's innocence. People at that time were divided but generally more inclined to believe that GARAM was guilty. And then a document from GARAM's school started circulating online. It showed the words School Violence Autonomous Committee, along with GARAM's name and the date 2018, when she was around 12 or 13 years old, but it didn't include many more details. HYBE released more statements saying that everything being said was false, and even when people tried asking the school directly, they responded that the information was private and they could not comment. This is when everything really exploded, because the accusations up until that point had mostly come from anonymous internet users showing photos of Kim GARAM, but without solid proof that their statements were real. However, at that moment it was revealed that a complaint had allegedly been filed by a girl who was referred to online as eunseo. Her legal team said that eunseo had been bullied by Kim GARAM for about a month, from April 2018 to May 2018, and that GARAM had already been punished for school violence, including being forced to complete 6 hours of special education as disciplinary action. They also said that their client eunseo had needed psychological treatment because of the online harassment and abuse, and her legal counsel blamed HYBE for this. Supposedly, eunseo later transferred schools after everything happened, and when the scandal spread across social media in 2022, people started harassing her as well, because they assumed she was the girl involved due to her past conflict with GARAM. Her legal team said they had contacted HYBE to explain their version of the story, so the company would stop defending GARAM and correct their statements, but according to them they were ignored. HYBE once again announced legal action, tried not to disclose information about the situation and deal with it privately because there were minors involved. Soon after, the activities of lesserafim were paused. After a few days, Hybe Corporation released a very long statement explaining the situation, saying that a student we will refer to as eunseo had taken a photo of a classmate wearing only her underwear inside the school changing room without permission, and that she later spread the photo on social media using an account with another student's name in order to frame them. Because of that, several classmates, including GARAM, 5 people in total, were angry with her and confronted her about it, apparently without violence. And even though eunseo admitted that what she did was wrong, she was not punished and instead went to the school violence committee to file a complaint, which ended up leaving GARAM and another student as the ones blamed for the whole situation, and they were the ones who were punished. According to the statement, the school violence report that later circulated online was related to that incident. They also added that GARAM and eunseo had actually been friends for some time, but later drifted apart, and apparently had spoken badly about each other. They argued for around 3 hours, but eventually ended the conversation on relatively good terms. However, eunseo later told another student about the situation, someone older from outside the school who we will refer to as A. And this person encouraged her to threaten GARAM, since A and GARAM didn't have a good relationship. According to the statement, eunseo then threatened GARAM, saying she would harm her outside of school, and after that their good relationship completely ended. Later, eunseo again took compromising photos, this time of a close friend of GARAM who we will call D, and she posted them on A's account. After that, GARAM and her friends confronted eunseo again for repeating the behavior of taking photos of underage classmates while they were changing and posting them online. Due to anger and frustration during the argument, the girls used some strong language and swore at times. Once again, eunseo went to the school violence committee, and a meeting was held with everyone involved. In that meeting, eunseo was treated as the victim while GARAM's group was seen as the perpetrators. D had also requested that eunseo be transferred to another school, but before the school could force a transfer, she left on her own. However, GARAM and D were punished instead. Some people from the school asked for another meeting because they believed the resolution was unfair, since eunseo was widely seen as the one causing the problems, and they wanted to testify against her. But by that time, GARAM's reputation had already been damaged because the entire school had heard about the committee's decision. Hybe denied all the rumors that were circulating about GARAM and announced that she would take a temporary hiatus so she could rest and recover. They also apologized for the kind of language GARAM may have used during the conflict, but highlighted that she had only used it while defending her friends. Hybe later also responded to online accusations regarding the punishment GARAM and her friend received, which was level 5 out of 9. Something many internet users found suspicious if the conflict had really involved no violence. The company explained that a school violence committee is not a court, and that punishments can vary depending on the specific case, the school, the district, and the supervisor involved. They also said that GARAM's mother initially believed the committee would simply recommend counseling for her daughter, but now regrets not appealing the decision at the time. Time passed, and in July 2022, GARAM's contract was terminated. Something many people saw as confirmation that the accusations were true, because after so many attempts by Hybe to defend her, they suddenly removed her. And then a month later, GARAM finally spoke up. She shared the full copy of the reports that had accused her of school violence. This report is actually quite consistent with what Hybe had previously said, and it even adds more information, explaining that eunseo and GARAM used to be friends, but eunseo started talking badly about GARAM's other friends, so they drifted apart. GARAM's friends later went to talk to eunseo about it, and she admitted she hadn't acted well. But then some of eunseo's friends started sending messages to GARAM's friends saying things like, "Who do you think you are? And don't you dare mess with eunseo." At that moment, GARAM and eunseo had already reconciled, and they were all in the same group chat where those messages were being sent. One of GARAM's friends then told eunseo she was being pathetic, and GARAM asked eunseo to leave the group chat. But eunseo's friends kept sending messages to GARAM's friends anyway, so GARAM eventually sent a message to that group defending her friends. Then some of eunseo's friends, referred to as A, B, and C, told GARAM they should meet in person. GARAM asked eunseo to also attend the meeting along with GARAM, her friend, and A, B, and C so they could resolve the situation. Apparently when they met, more people showed up than expected, and the situation escalated. GARAM and her friend ended up crying because they felt intimidated by eunseo's friends. After that, they promised not to see each other again because the situation had become too tense. However, eunseo kept causing problems. She hacked the Facebook account of one of GARAM's friends and changed the profile picture to the underwear photo of D that eunseo herself had taken earlier. Eunseo first denied doing it, but later admitted in writing that she was responsible. Dee was very hurt by the situation and GARAM tried calling eunseo but she didn't answer, so GARAM sent her messages threatening to tell her mother about what had happened. Eunseo later posted an apology letter on Facebook, and shortly after that she left the school. GARAM also included the official document from the School Violence Committee describing the disciplinary measures, which stated, "Reason for investigation, at the end of April to May 2018, due to eunseo's mistake, talking behind her back, uploading a friend's underwear photo, etc. Kim GARAM called her out to a nearby elementary school twice in the presence of several people and cursed at her, even though the conflict also involved group chats, ask apps, where people can ask anonymously, and other online interactions. Disciplinary measures for the offender student Kim GARAM: 6 hours of special education program, and 5 hours of special education for the student's parents. These are considered mid-level disciplinary measures in Korean school violence rulings. While all this was happening, GARAM's friends and family had evidence and testimonies. It is known that ever since the first allegations surfaced, they were ready to reveal everything, but the company disagreed and refused to release anything. And after this silence, eunseo has also never spoken publicly again after GARAM released all those statements and documents. Some people stuck with the very first version of the story, the one where GARAM was guilty of everything, and basically didn't care when GARAM later showed evidence suggesting she wasn't what people had claimed. Yes, she used harsh language while defending her friend, that was her only real offense, and most of the people who had accused GARAM of being the worst person in the world either stayed quiet afterwards or deleted their accounts, which really shows that what hybe, and especially GARAM herself, said was true, and that eunseo had been telling half-truths in order to harm someone she disliked. In the end, all of this scandal basically led nowhere, because eunseo never actually sued Kim GARAM. She only sent a formal notice to hybe and Source Music asking for an apology. And the complaints about online harassment that she supposedly filed seemed to be directed at people on the internet, rather than GARAM herself. To this day, there is still no clear information about what happened with that. Little by little, several rumors that people had used to accuse GARAM of bullying were debunked online. For example, the claim that GARAM made fun of disabled people by writing ableist insults on her own selfies. The original photos were later found, and those messages were not there, which means other people had edited them in. In one case, the edited messages even mocked her brachydactyly, a condition that causes shorter than average fingers, which made some people think she might actually have been the one experiencing bullying. Another rumor made by eunseo was made in Huskell, claiming that she had hit someone with a flower pot. She later admitted she had made it up and apologized to GARAM after a teacher intervened. GARAM smoking was also talked about, so she voluntarily took a nicotine test with her parents and gave the results to a teacher in order to prove that the accusations were false. Another rumor claimed that Kim GARAM must have committed severe physical violence to receive a level 5 disciplinary action, because previous students who had received level 4 or 5 punishments had hospitalized their victims. However, the official criteria sheet used by school violence committees shows that level 2 and level 5 punishments are exempt from severity scurung, and level 5 was actually the most common disciplinary action at her school. After all of this, Kim GARAM disappeared from the public eye for years. Occasionally photos of her would appear at school, but she rarely showed herself publicly, until in May 2025, she opened her Instagram account, and very recently, she also launched her YouTube channel where she shares small parts of her daily life. And it seems that she is currently studying to become an actress. The only thing left to do is to give her our full support in her new projects, because so many people have treated her unfairly, instead of setting the record straight or apologizing. Since we all make mistakes, they keep pushing this made-up story that GARAM bullied an innocent classmate. I hope everything goes really well for GARAM. And finally, a huge thank you to 𝒉𝒐𝒏𝒆, the great GARAM and once mimosa, who helped me proofread the script to make sure there were no inaccuracies.
And this has been all. I hope you like it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. It would help me a lot. See ya.